Welcome to this presentation of Christmas in the Valley, presented by the Mid-Ohio Valley Model Railroad Club. We hope you enjoy this presentation.
Dad, can we go to the MOVRC Christmas open house?
Oh, we go to that place every year. I love that place.
Sorry, kiddos, the train club's closed this year.
Oh, man.
Aww.
Maybe next year we can get to go. Now it's time for bed.
Peyton and Parker had been on many trips to the MOVRC. This trip will be a very special one.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy? Copy that. Over. Okay, start her up. Stand by for track orders. Yes, sir. We'll fire her up. Out. Tower, my coal's at 1/4. Am I cleared to the outbound? Over. Roger that. Take the green. Over. Thank you much. Outbound. Out. Tower, train is rolling. Over.
Peyton and Parker board the Chessie Steam Special at the High Station on their way to the MOVRC. They will pass and visit many magical places on their trip. Peyton and Parker depart the Chessie Steam Special at the 6th Street station and run across the street to the MOVRC.
This will be great.
Conductor Doug, we thought the club was closed.
We're always open in your dreams.
Conductor Doug, you're silly. We aren't dreaming.
We rode the Chessie Steam Special to get here.
I know you did. Come on, let me show you where you've been.
Peyton and Parker did not know that Conductor Doug had been watching their entire trip to the MOVRC.
Railroads really played an important part in the development of Parkersburg, West Virginia throughout the years. B&O Railroad actually arrived in Parkersburg in 1857, and the Ann Street Station was actually built in 1877 and lasted till 1959. It served all points of the B&O Railroad from north to south, from Wheeling, West Virginia, all the way to Huntington, West Virginia. Okay, what you see here that you saw on the train when you went by was the American Viscose plant. It was built in 1927 and was in existence until 1974. They manufactured rayon until nylon took over, in which case the plant closed down. Dill's Department Store in Parkersburg opened in 1890 and provided shopping excellence for 88 years till 1988 when it was closed. Blennerhassett Hotel, opened in 1889, was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982. The Blennerhassett Hotel quickly became the grand showplace for what would become the Gaslight era, serving tycoons from the gas and oil industry. And this is the 6th Street station located in Parkersburg that served the B&O Railroad and the people in Parkersburg. It was built in 1883. And it was raised in 1973 and served all points for the B&O Railroad from east to west.
Hey Parker, there's us.
Yeah, it even looks like us.
I'm even wearing stripes.
I wonder if they're anywhere else. Wow, American Flyer. That's the train my grandpa had. Even the buildings look very real.
Oh, I love the circus. I wish I had a circus train.
Hey, look, Peyton. It's Thomas.
Wow, I love Thomas.
Peyton and Parker would have to leave the MOVRC to board the Chessie Steam Special for their trip home.
Goodbye, Conductor Doug.
See you next year.
We'll always be here.
A train for every Christmas. Parker and Peyton find their dream trains under the tree. Parker finds the S scale of his grandpa's. Peyton finds a circus train. There was one more gift of trains. What the children did not know is that Conductor Doug had visited Dad shortly after they went to bed with a special gift just for them. We hope you enjoyed this MOVRC presentation of Christmas in the Valley. You can own a copy of this presentation that you can watch forever. For a $15 donation, you'll receive the Christmas in the Valley DVD with bonus train footage. Please send to MOVRC, 610 Green Street, Parkersburg, West Virginia, 26101. That again is MOVRC, 610 Green Street, Parkersburg, West Virginia, 26101. And now, please stay tuned for bonus MOVRC train footage.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Valley Model Railroad Club. Please come in. Follow me. It's right this way. Go down the steps here. Watch your step.
Hello, welcome to Mid-Ohio Valley Model Railroad Club. Hey, we've got all kinds of gauges down here, but first of all, I'm going to show you the largest gauge, which is G, which is the Garden Railway scale. It's 1/24th, and we've got some beautiful engines running. The 1/24th scale is actually what they call quarter scale, but a few of the little things here on the G gauge layout. This building was actually made by Applied Imagination in Kentucky, and I worked for them for about 14 years, and they do all the large scale layouts in the New York Botanical Gardens, DC, Chicago. They're all over the country. But they all of the pieces that this is made out of are all natural material. Eucalyptus leaves for the roof. They use a little bit of everything. We've even got some some cinnamon stick for the top. Little bits and pieces of branch and everything is what they put it all together and make some beautiful replicas. That's the old Parkersburg station. We use a lot of Eastern red cedar. Like I say, most of these layouts that you find are outdoor, but we are fortunate enough to have a large enough space indoors to run this. That's our big boy. Yeah, as we come around in the yard over here, we have a very small yard, but that's where we keep our extra trains, as we can switch them out right and left. As you came around in the very beginning there's an ABA, that's an Alco set. And like I say, most all of this stuff is designed for outdoors. It's all indoors in here, but it's so much nicer when you've got it outdoors running around your yard. And that's where the term G-gauge or garden railway comes in. And now this was one of the very first parts that we set up when we moved down here, is the circus area. The kids really enjoy the circus area. It's we designed the table to set lower, so it's more on the kids' eye level. But most of these are LGB parts made in Germany. The LGB circus train is a German piece from the 80s. Even some of the little decorative, we have a merry-go-round that we have that's also a German piece. But the kids really enjoy it. It's down on their level, and little fingers get into it every now and then, but that's what it's all about. Of course, you can't have a railway without Thomas. So we designed this overhead system, which is a hanging system. And we have Thomas and Percy running on it. And it gives the kids stop, look, they look up, and everybody's screaming, "Hey, there's Thomas."
My name's Jonathan. Welcome to O-Scale. These are our O-Scale trains.
This train, pulled by Chesapeake and Ohio 614, was put together to create awareness about grade crossing accident prevention.
Hi everybody, my name is Mark and this is the S-scale layout. S-scale is 1/64th scale, which is in between the O gauge and the HO gauge. It's the same scale as Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels cars. This scale was started in 1946 by A.C. Gilbert, who is better known as the inventor of the erector sets and the chemistry sets some of us of a certain age had when we were children. This layout was built 20 years ago. It took about a year to build it, and it runs the old American Flyer S-gauge trains that existed from 1946 to 66. It also runs the new S-scale trains by S Helper Service, Lionel, and MTH Electric Trains. The track and roadbed are all made as one piece, and it's not even nailed down, and it's stayed here for 20 years. So it conducts electricity better than the old American Flyer track, and it doesn't come apart. In fact, you can run this layout, start it up and just walk away, and it runs like a sewing machine. The trains we're running today are a Baltimore and Ohio passenger train, the type that would have come through Parkersburg in the 1950s, has a two-unit diesel pulling streamlined passenger cars. The other train coming by is a Chesapeake and Ohio steam locomotive with some freight cars. It would have run in the 40s and 50s just as you see it here. So there's some West Virginia railroading here. Of course, the name of the layout is the Minnehaha and Western Railroad, and that's taken after Minnehaha Springs in Pocahontas County. And of course, the wood part is Wood County. Now these trains, although they're highly detailed and much more detailed than the old American Flyer trains your grandfather, great-grandfather might have had, they can still be run on the old American Flyer track. They can also use an old type traditional transformer or something more modern here. Additionally, the C&O train that's running is operated by this remote control. So S-gauge today is kind of a mix of the old and the new, and you can make it what you want it to be. You can run it quietly, silently, or you can operate, all the bells and whistles, the smoke, the steam, whistles, anything that you would like. And the layout you see here, rather than one big scene, is actually a series of small vignettes. So you kind of have to look at it and take your time looking at it to see everything and appreciate the little nuances. Some of the people who come and look at the trains here, they like the trains, but some of the people of a certain age like the old-fashioned cars, which you see over here, and some of the older buildings. The buildings on this layout are mostly kits or prepackaged items that I have taken and enhanced. I've either changed the color of them or added details to make them more realistic.
Publication a few years ago.
You'll notice the freight train has a caboose on the end of it. You don't see those on trains any longer. They have a red flashing light that's called an end of train device. It took the place of the caboose. A couple other things about this layout that are kind of noteworthy. Most model railroads are built in either springtime or summer in terms of appearance, or people will build a model railroad layout at Christmas time. Of course, it'll have snow and that type of thing. This layout's a little bit different, and then it's set in early autumn, and you'll notice some of the trees have changed colors or are in the process of changing colors, and there are some leaves on the ground. So that's something that's a little bit different. The last thing I'd like to mention is that I had to use a little bit of artistic license in building this layout. The vehicles and the buildings are actually O scale, so they are actually too large for the trains. And the reason for that is the true O scale buildings are far and few between, and they're just, if I bought every one of them that existed, I wouldn't be able to have this layout of this size. So what I decided to do is keep the people, the cars, the trees, and the buildings all the same scale, which is O, and the trains, which are a smaller scale, which is S. So since it's the same from end to end, you kind of get by with a little artistic license there.
Welcome to MOVRC HO scale. We're 1/87th of the size of the real engine, and we've been here since 2000. There were like 20 members or so, I think, back in 2000, and they come down in here and clean this building up. It took them a year to clean this building up before they ever started building. Our layout used to extend clear around the thing, but we're under construction right now. We had mostly western mountains. They were on the mountain division we had, and both these layouts were basically run as two separate HO layouts, and we're trying to incorporate them into one now. We've put in a new yard, working on putting in a new yard down here, and we're going to extend the yard down there on that end. We had a fellow brought in the 6th Street station up here several years back. He scratch built this from out of wood. He donated to the club approximately 7 or 8 years ago. Our members are anywhere from 70 to like 15. Actually, we even have some younger members than that, but they have to be accompanied by their parents. But HO scale is the scale we like to model in because it's fairly easy to work on and a little bit more realistic, we think, than the other scales. We get into model railroading has everything from you got to first start out building your framework and bench work, and you can do anything from wiring to scenery and learn how to do all that stuff. That's one reason why we're in the construction mode, so we can teach some of this to some of the younger members while we're doing it. Started out when they first built this, it was DC only, and they've gradually, in about 10 years ago, incorporated this DCC system of MRC to run the newer type engines that are DCC and sound and everything. That's where you get all your sound. And now they're incorporating phones. We have a Wi-Fi where you can run your train with your phone. Our members like to go around and watch trains, do rail fanning at different locations around the state and around the country, and that's part of our hobby. And we have different locations that we like to go to. Sometimes we get together and have bus trips to the Cass Railroad and things like that. Here we have a BNSF mixed freight coming up the branch line. So we incorporate the new with the old, try to keep everybody happy. A lot of people have the older engines, and not necessarily older engines, but the era of steam, they like that, and some of us like the new. When we have shows and things, we operate down here. We basically set a time, and the time you want to run, you come down and run, and during the show, and we kind of take turns since we have so many members. A lot of the club members like to go to train shows and sell their trains and buy new ones and things like that. We go throughout Ohio and West Virginia to shows. And our club has a show and sale at the college, but right now with the COVID, they're not letting us come down to do that. HO scale really doesn't have any necessarily collectible stuff, but like S gauge and G gauges and no gauge, but we feel it's more of a realistic scale.
Welcome to the N scale, the P and WV Railroad, which is the Parkersburg and West Virginia Railroad. You'll notice a number of representative things on the N scale from the area, Parkersburg. The first thing you'll notice is a representation of Parkersburg High Stadium Field. We don't model exact, we just do a representation, so it gives you a hint of what you're looking at. One thing you will see is an intermodal facility. It is what drives the railroads today. It is their main cargo that they carry anymore. There's none of these in this area, but that's a representation of our intermodal yard. In this area, you'll see a representation of any coal field in southern West Virginia. On the N-scale layout, you notice it's more modern. We modeled it to the modern area. But you will see this in about any coal town in West Virginia. There's also an exact replica of the Lackawanna Breaker, which is in Pennsylvania. We have 4 main lines around the bottom, with the outside line is actually 4 scale miles. In scale is 1/160 scale. And there's also 2 mountain lines. What you see coming here would be just a CSX coal drag.
Got 2
And also behind it on the outside lane there, you've got a 4-unit Baltimore and a High A BBA unit pulling just a standard freight train behind it, mixed freight. And that mixed freight has Santa Claus on the back end of it. As you can see, the Millennium Falcon crash landed on top of Mount Noe. Mount Noe will eventually become a winter scene, complete with a Swiss village. And the this is the layout Dr. Paul Powell donated to the club. It's his representation of 1950s Parkersburg. He scratch built a lot of the buildings and structures and details on this layout. We restored it 2 years ago, and he made a visit last Christmas down to see it. Dr. Powell recently passed away a few weeks ago. All the trains, the rolling stock, the locos are correct that you would see in this area in Parkersburg in the 1950s. One of the most popular scenes here on the N scale during our open houses is the representation of the IEI fire that happened a few years ago. We've had many firefighters and first responders come to see this display. We originally had the Ames plant, 1960s version of the Ames plant on the layout. And after the fire, we decided to make a tribute to the firefighters and the first responders. Also, you'll see a representation of the American Viscose plant that was also represented in the movie you just watched. It was opened in 1927, closed in 1974. A lot of our guests really enjoy seeing that. Their grandparents worked there, their mother or father worked there. Thank you for watching the bonus footage. If you need some more information about the club, you can find us on the internet at our website and also on Facebook.